Welcome to another edition of Brevard News, the St. Patrick's Day edition. And we are joined again by our special guest. We have Katie Delaney, who is running for County Commission seat number 1. We also have Brevard Facebook group page. And tell us, come on, Kristen.
Kristen Lortie with the Brevard Care Citizens Coalition Facebook page.
See, that's a mouthful.
Together, Brevard works better. Together, working together, Brevard gets better. How about that?
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Kristen. And also, we have our favorite person back. We have Troy Tidwell, who's running for City Council seat number 2 in Titusville. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, so we're here on this St. Patrick's Day edition, and we're dressed apart. Some of us are. Me and Troy, we missed out on it. But we did have a lot of things happening this week in Brevard County, and so I want to start with you, Troy, in Titusville. And so there's some things in Titusville concerning development, and also tell us a little bit about your campaign.
Thank you. I'd love to. So first of all, it is great to be back. I feel like I haven't been here in several weeks, and work gets in the way of everything. I tell people that working a full-time job and running for public office is no joke. As I do this and as things come up, I'm reminded of why we're doing it and why it's important. And I want to remind the voters also why we're doing this. And of course, you guys watch the news, you guys see what's going on, but in Titusville, even though there's several components of my campaign and my platform, I really do think the biggest issue that I need to point out to the voters is really we have a city council, a city administration that seems to be hyper-focused on development, and it's a real problem. If you look at if you go to the city council meeting in person or you watch it online, if you look at these meetings and pay attention over time, a very large portion of each meeting is really dedicated to development, and it seems like that is the most important thing to the city. And
So just as a second, why do you think that is?
well, I believe that the city leaders, the city manager, there's millions and millions, maybe billions of dollars at stake, and I think that people are overcome or interested in greed, the next new shiny thing that comes to town, and they're doing that and they're forgetting about what's really important. So I think there's a lot more to it than that meets the eye. So we're going to get into it.
Okay.
Speaking of development, would you be surprised, Kevin, if I told you right now that there are over 45 site plans either in the planning stage or under construction already in Titusville? That's 45 commercial/residential.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So, and the city can't really handle that. We already have issues with flooding and streets are disrepair, lots of potholes. We have issues in Titusville with water quality, and Titusville is not the only place, but certainly that's on my mind since I'm running for city council. But we have issues with wastewater management. City parks are in disrepair, and so they're forgetting about a lot of the day-to-day operations, and they're really focusing mostly on development. In Titusville, we can't even get most of our street lights to work half the time. So it's just the little things they're really not paying attention to.
So do you think the development has overrun the concern for the average citizens?
I think a lot of energy and focus and dollars have been pushed over to development, and we're forgetting about the people in the city and the day-to-day operations. And it's one of the biggest issues that I see. This is how obsessed your city leaders are with development, and I mean the planning office, the city manager, and some on city council. They are about to spend an initial investment of $45,000 on an AI program that will basically review site plans and proposals for development. And the whole idea, the genesis behind it really is to cut the time in half for approval of new development.
To speed up the process,
Speed up the process.
Run more through.
Not only is it's a problem already, but they want to
Yeah.
really fast track developers that are already doing business in Titusville and Brevard County, and they want to fast track it so that they can make it easier and faster for them to do that. And I think that's a slippery slope. I really do. And I want to be clear. I want to go on record of saying that I'm not anti-development. And I've said that before. I do understand the need for growth and development, and we have to expand our tax base. I get all that. But we need to slow down and be more thoughtful with the projects we're rubber stamping. And it's a real problem right now, and I feel very passionate about it. But I want to change gears for a second. Today was a great day. Did you have a question?
No, you're going to say about your election is what we wanted to
Yeah,
get
so I
to,
wanted to
right?
change gears quickly because I know we have a lot to get to. But today was a great day. My wife and I went out on a Sunday drive, and the whole the idea behind the drive was we were going to try to map out a plan for going door to door in each neighborhood because there's a lot of door knocking going on this summer. So we started about 2 blocks west of City Hall in the neighborhood down South Street, Tropic Street, Dummit, and so on, and DeLeon. So we all know that if you spend any time in Titusville, it's not the best area, but it's a really good place to go door to door because you get a chance to see what people are doing and how they feel. Today was a beautiful day, so lots of people are outside. My wife said, "Hey, people are already outside. Let's just pull over and let's just start going door to door." So we did. And I'll tell you, it was eye-opening, and it just confirmed everything that we're doing. I got a chance to talk to dozens of people, and they have the same issues that everybody has. They're concerned about safety and crime and delivery of services. They're concerned about schools. They're concerned about the quality of water. And the overriding theme of these people is that they just really feel like the city of Titusville has left them behind and forgotten about them. And it's a shame because they're only a block or two from City Hall, so it's really ironic.
Well, you have that same problem in Washington, D.C., right? Have you ever seen what's around the state capitol in
Absolutely.
Washington, D.C.? It's a horrific area,
Yeah.
right?
But man, it was really phenomenal, and people invited us into their home, which it was terrific. And we got a chance to really, even though I already knew it, they just confirmed firsthand the same problems and issues that we're all concerned about. So really, for me, the people that are on council right now, again, a couple of good ones, but the majority of them are really pro-development, and they're leaving not just the people in that area behind, but a lot of the rest of Titusville behind. So the seat I'm going for, the person that's in that seat right now, seat two, she's been in there for 8 years. And if you look at the track record of her voting, it is pro-development. And if you look at her donors over the past 8 years, both all the
Developers.
campaigns, it's all developers,
Correct.
big money, big development, and a lot of people from out of town, Tallahassee, other states. And it's concerning when you look at that donor list because there's a lot of money behind that. And I know they're going to be throwing a lot of money behind her campaign this
Oh,
year.
of course.
And so they're already throwing darts at us. I mean,
Of course.
we're already getting a lot of heat. So that just tells us we're doing the right thing. So 8 years is long enough. The city deserves better. And we deserve a good government, transparent government. And no one in Titusville should be left behind.
Well, people have forgotten, and you will see this as we get to the county commission. The politicians have forgotten the Constitution. I don't know if they even read it. That the government is by and for the people. The people are the government. Or did I miss something?
I think you
They are
nailed it.
just representatives of the people.
That's right.
Right? But we saw this week at the county commission, boy, I just saw contempt
And
for the
Troy,
people.
before we leave for a second, just on the thing with the campaign, those campaign reports should be up online, shouldn't they? And the Titusville does not put their campaign reports up online, do they?
Yeah.
So let's make sure, and we're going to be talking a little about records,
That's right.
availability of public records.
There are some cities and other municipalities that do a great job of posting their public records online, but the city of Titusville, the city manager specifically, is very protective over the internal documents of the city, and which should all be public and they should all be posted online. And you shouldn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops or pay a lot of money just to get the information that you should
Right.
have up there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to dedicate an entire show to this next week because this is a real problem with public records and the fact that people have to even pay to get access to those records, and we'll talk about that. But this came up at the county commission this week, Katie and Kristen, and so a couple of things as you watch the video from the meeting. One is that we have Commissioner Steele, who really looked like he showed contempt for Rick as he was talking. He's just asking a question, and here's the comment he made: let's stop the nonsense and move forward. We're not going to do this, or I'm going to sit you down. Did I miss something here?
And
Again,
make sure we talk about the newspaper article. Yeah.
the citizens, this government is the citizens. It's by the citizens. Have he forgotten who's who? What's going on in this?
Well, it's just interesting because he's a commissioner who was appointed by the governor. So he wasn't even elected. So of course he doesn't feel like he owes us anything because the governor put him there. And so that's an interesting piece to it. But even appointees should feel some responsibility to, or all responsibility to the people that they're supposed to be representing. And the fact that he has such contempt for the public to come and speak is unacceptable.
Now, he also went on to say, pull your papers and run for county commission. Well,
Right.
you told him you were going to do that, right?
Yes, exactly.
He invited you to do that, and so you
So he
alerted him to the
he
fact that you were, right?
he invited Rick to do that.
Yep.
And so when it was my chance to speak, I said, I am running for county commission, and I let them know how disappointed I was in what I've been seeing lately out of this commission. It's been now almost on an every meeting basis that they are showing some kind of disrespect to the public.
And so it's almost developed into an adversarial relationship now, this issue of public records. So, Kristen, tell me a little bit about that. So, walk us through. So, we're going to talk about this again in the full show next week. So, public records are what, and why is this important?
So public records are the records that belong to the people and should be available to the people. And the reason that it's important is because the people want to know what our government is up to. And so when those records are not available to us, or when there's hindrances added to that availability, that makes it hard for us to become informed citizens. And so we feel so passionately about this that public records was a part of us launching a rally. We had a rally last week before this very meeting. You're reading an article, you're reviewing a part of this article of Stop the Shenanigans Rally, and the public records is a part of that. A group of us met before the meeting, people with all different coalitions.
Bipartisan, we had people from
Bipartisan.
across party lines there. Right?
Correct. That got together to say, we need some of this to change. So with the public records, one of the protests that I made, and I brought this during my public comment, was I brought up the fact that the commission is currently charging me $35 an hour to read two binders. They're two thick binders that have citizen recommendations in them, plus staff analysis of those recommendations. They're charging me $35 an hour just to read them, to have a staff present, so I have to pay for the staff's salary and their benefits just to sit there and read these binders. That's how bad it is right now with the commission. Not all of them are this bad, but I have a request in with Titusville that's from March 7th, and it is still unfulfilled right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about this more next week, but the Sarah Hodge from Merritt Island made the complaint that the records really should be put online,
Right.
and that there should be free access. Why is this not the case? And Troy, what would you think about that? Is that a reasonable request?
Oh, as Kristen mentioned, it's the public's information. It should be public, it should be easy to access, and it should be no big deal.
Right.
So I don't know what the big secret is. And, the burden should not be on the public to try to jump through all the hoops to get information that they should have immediate access to.
And
what
on
would you
this, one more second, because on that thing about putting them online, I have literally been back and forth. I'm up to about 20 emails now, negotiating with the county attorney's office, because apparently the county attorney is the only one that can manage the records at the county. Up to almost email 20 on
What are you
this.
negotiating with them about?
Negotiating to try to get access to these binders. So I asked them to put them online, and I said, could you do this at no charge, so all the public, all of the 24 people who submitted, and everybody would have access to them. And they said that they will still charge staff time just to scan their own binders to make them available to us. So they're still going to charge me $35 an hour just to have them scanned.
Katie, what would you do to solve this problem? You're on the county commission. What would you do to solve this problem?
Right. So basically, any public document that doesn't need some kind of redaction for, say, privacy or whatnot, it should just be accessible online. Or we should be able to look at those records in person and be able to look through them. The fact that the county is requiring a babysitter to sit with a member of the public, it's unacceptable. And one of
This
the
is not
things,
classified information.
exactly.
Approval for, is it?
It's just ridiculous. And one of the things that I will be doing once I'm commissioner is I will make sure that any document that the county gives for free to say a developer or any kind of special interest group, if they're giving those documents for free, those documents will also be free for the public.
So now, is
And
it
available
true?
online.
And
Is
available
it true
online,
that the
yeah.
developers get this information for free? Is this true? but the citizens do not have that access for free?
Well, some places have better records. So, for example, the city of Cocoa does have a better online records availability for many of their records. But the county, they have some of their records that are harder. And we're hearing complaints that the county does not have as many records available online. And Titusville is way in the rears because Titusville hardly has anything online. So there's a discrepancy depending on which public body that you're approaching. But they do not make it easy unless they have a standardized system.
Okay, two things before we close out. Now, the other thing is that there was a problem at the county commission at the meeting before last where they made a vote or took a vote and the residents were not allowed to make public comment. And so you brought this up
That
at
was
the
me.
meeting, right?
So the front page of the news is a rally because of these kinds of things. So at the February 29th meeting, they had an item that was an unannounced, non-agenda item, and at that meeting, Commissioner Tobias brought that up, and then he made a presentation, he had handouts, they did a board vote, and they refused to allow the public to speak, and that's what I talked about in my public comment at the commission meeting, was I said, I want this on record at a regular meeting that you guys denied my right to speak, and I brought my speaker cards to say, these are the cards that was denied, including before the vote, and that's what we call sneaky voting. So at the rally, we have a picture of the affected party, which was the Cocoa Beach mayor, who walked right up to our rally because he was there to complain about his being the one who was
Good.
affected by that sneaky vote of the commission, which, by the way, you see in your notes there. What did Commissioner Pritchett have to say
One
about
of the most
that?
astonishing, it's one of the most
did she
astonishing
say about
statements.
that?
If we did a list of the astonishing statements of the year so far, this would be at my top. So here's her response on this particular issue. So after hearing the public comments, Commission Vice Chair Rita Pritchett defended the Commission's action of sometimes bringing items up for a vote that weren't on the meeting agenda. And this is what she said: "It's not illegal for us to do so." What? So
That
is
the
that
bar.
the only threshold?
That is the bar. And I personally wrote because she's summing up, she really is summing it up perfectly. I did a
Right.
whole Facebook post on this. But what she's doing is she had actually kicked it over to the attorney before she made that comment, and she made him explain it. And I have personally written back to the attorney to protest and say, this is a flimsy legal basis. It's not logical. It's not ethical. It's not in the best interest of the people. And that's the bar you have.
But here's the
they
problem.
They think that it's not illegal.
Yeah, but
the attorney
this
thinks it's
sums
not
up
illegal.
the problem not only in our city, in our county, in our country. So if you do not, my father used to say all the time, if you do not stand for something, you will fall for anything. And so it's ethics. I mean, if you have no ethics, it doesn't really matter whether it's legal or not, because you're going to find a way around it.
Right.
And this seems to be the problem with politics in our county, and we just need these two people, Troy and on the Titusville City Council, and also Katie in the county commission, because we have people who stand for nothing. And I want to close with this from Anne Rand, just a tremendous mind. And this is what she said about government, and I want you to remember this: the government was set to protect man from criminals, and the Constitution was written to protect men from government. And so you have to get engaged. And if you do not get engaged, as Ronald Reagan says, you will get the government you deserve.
And come to Facebook to get engaged.
Come to Facebook.
Thank you.
Facebook, what's
Brevard
give that
Cares
again?
Citizens Coalition to get engaged and get in the discussion. Come to our Facebook group. Join as soon as you can.
All right. Hey, this has been a great show. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and also share it. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. And we'll see you next week.